June 14th, that is the day that you're going to be able to get into a little bit of Pupstruction on Disney Junior. Also going to be available on Disney Plus. I was so excited to talk to this guy about this brand new show. He's the writer, producer. You've heard this name before about many, many things. Travis Braun. Travis, how you doing, man?
James, I'm doing great, man. It's so awesome to talk to you.
So anytime there's anything with dogs, Travis, I'm in. I almost don't even care what it is. We love dogs in my house. I have 3 kids. We all love dogs. So what came into the decision? You're putting the show together. You're like, let's do a show about a little bit of Pupstruction. How did this all come about?
Yeah, so I also love dogs. I grew up with 2 chocolate Labradors. They were puppies when I was a baby, and so we grew up together. And so I try to put dogs into everything I do. And that was definitely important in this, and it's really inspired by my childhood. I grew up working with my family in auto racing. We had a family race team, and we got to like build stuff together and make stuff and work with tools. And so I kind of took those 2 things and smashed them together, and that's how you get Pupstruction, dogs that do construction. And it's about this family run construction company, and it shows that building sort of brings this family together. It's what they connect over. It's what my family connected over.
This might seem like a silly question, but I've always wondered this about shows that like yours that are similar to this. How on earth do you choose what types of dogs that you bring into a show like this? Is it based on like some sort of skill set, or because I'm just thinking, okay, I wish I could see X, Y, or Z type dog in there. You guys actually have a really good variety, I think.
Well, thank you. The leader is a little corgi named Finny. I love corgis. I think their backsides are hilarious, and so that's a big portion of why we went with the corgi. But also just the show centers around Finny, and he has this dream of being a construction pup, but he's tiny, he's small, he's this little corgi. All these other dogs are a lot bigger than him, and he feels like he might not be big enough to do construction, but he learns that it's not about how big you are, it's about how big you dream. And that's sort of the heartbeat of this show, is that every episode, this little corgi, he comes up with this kind of big, crazy, wild idea and gets to create this solution to whatever they're working on in sort of a kid way. I was that kid that I loved Legos, but I never followed the instructions. I'd get like a fire truck, set, and I would smash it, and I would make a red spaceship instead. I didn't want to build a firehouse. So that's this show, is I really wanted to do a show that like let kids play and just showed like, what if a kid ran a construction company? What would they build? They wouldn't build a bridge. They would make it a Ferris wheel that let people go over the water instead. That kind of just like kid wish fulfillment and play and fun that I grew up doing.
Kind of to piggyback on that, is that kind of what sets this show apart to other shows that are similar to it? Because obviously not just recently, but throughout the years, we've seen similar shows, similar themes, maybe even some similar characters. Do you feel like what you kind of were just talking about, does that set this show apart and make it unique in this space?
Yeah, look, I think what makes our show really unique is that it is, at the end of the day, about imagination. And I think we're hoping kids show up to see what is that big idea that Finny has, that kid wish fulfillment. We're not just a construction crew that will build a bank. We're going to build a piggy bank in the shape of a pig for one of our pig characters. Like, it has that, there's an element of whimsy. We don't take ourselves too seriously. And I think that makes us stand out. And I think it's the thing that Disney does really well, right? It's music, it's heart, it's this idea of a family construction company that definitely feels like it makes us our own thing, where we're taking these two sort of ideas and putting them together. This idea that we're doing construction, and sure, we're laying concrete and we're setting bricks, but we're also singing songs, and we're telling emotional stories, and we're telling stories about teamwork and about helping others and imagination and creativity and sort of all these things that make Disney. So I think that makes us specific. And also the fact that we're an all pet world, it's a show, we have a lot of fun just leaning into that, we're not just, everything we build has some purpose for cats or goldfish or dogs. And we get to really play around with all of our characters, not just driving a dump truck, but also, reminding audience that, hey, they're dogs, and if a tennis ball bounces by, they are barking at it and chasing after it. And that's something that we always want to make sure is in the show, is that sense of fun and just whimsy.
I actually love that you did that, because so many shows force humans into situations like this, and it's just not needed. And this show proves it's just not needed all the time. So bravo to you for that.
Thank you. Yeah, we didn't. It was never a consideration of humans. I guess I my previous show Tots that I created there was no humans in that world either. I don't think I think in terms of humans. I have so much fun with, we're doing an animated show. Why would I want to show a human? Like I want to make it, I want to do something about a penguin or a flamingo or dogs, or, really use what animation allows us to do, which is to tell stories about worlds that don't exist, but we can make them exist.
We just get in the way anyway, Travis. So it's fine. The animals are probably better off, honestly.
How many times have you heard people say that humans are not worthy of dogs, that dogs are better?
That is 100% true.
So let's get rid of those humans. Let's just make a show about the dogs.
No doubt about that. I also love that you have so many great themes in this show, I think. And so many times you go into an animated series and so many people are like, well, you've got to have a foil. You've got to have like the good guy, bad guy dynamic. Do you kind of feel like your show, the foil is more like the situation more so than like an actual like animal or other kind of being or some sort?
It's interesting you say that. It's sort of both in this series, right? So there are a lot of things that tricky builds that we come up across, having to build a giant bridge or to plug a dam because there's a hole in it, and there's things that just natural kind of emergencies that happen around town. But we also have a really silly villain voiced by Bobby Moynihan. Voiced by Bobby Moynihan. In Lickety Split, they're an all-cat construction company, and they are hilarious and bumbling, and Bobby's extremely jealous of Pupstruction and wants to be a great builder like they are, but he's not, because he spends all of his time just trying to sabotage whatever Pupstruction is building. And we have a lot of fun with them, and also just playing the fact that they are cats, and everything that goes along with that.
They just struck me as more goofy than villainy to me. That's why I almost didn't even see it that way. I'm like, they're just goofballs more so than anything else.
And the thing that we love is the more that Bobby tries to sabotage Pupstruction, the more he actually inadvertently helps them. He's that
right
at what he does. So
it's like collaboration through potential destruction, sort of thing.
Exactly.
No doubt about that. So talk about your cast here for a second, because you're blending a younger cast with more experienced cast. So you've got younger cast members, but then you've also got names like Eric Bowser and Kari Wahlgren and people like that. So how do you go and blend those two things together? Because you've got such great experience on one side, and on the other, you might have experience, but you're also working with younger voices as well. Yeah.
So it's it's a testament to Disney casting. Dave Wright helped us assemble this great cast, as you said. We have a lot of great veterans, but we're bringing in a lot of fresh talent to voice these pups. And it was important to us to have them voiced by actual, kids, because you cannot replicate that energy that an actual kid brings to the role. And we have an amazing cast led by Jonas, who plays Finney, and he's our leader. He has that kind of lead energy, but everyone we cast is so much that the character. We really found kids that were, again, you can't fake some of these things, and so we really wanted to find kids that were like their character, and I think I really think we did in that aspect. Tank is voiced by this hilarious kid Carson, who just cracks me up. He's not even trying to be funny. He's just a goofy silly kid that loves food himself, and is very, very much like our Tank. And Luna is voiced by this amazing actress Mika, she's silly and goofy and spontaneous. Roxy's voiced by Scarlett Ferguson, who she's one of the coolest people I know. She's a wheelchair user like Roxy, but she loves to do archery and horseback ride, and is just like the craziest kind of rough and tumble gal, and is so much like our Roxy. So we love our cast, and I think they're a huge part of why those characters have come to life.
As you should, as you should. Now, as a father of three, sometimes it amazes me the kind of ideas that my kids will come up with on the fly. I'll say, let's do this, and we'll start playing. And all of a sudden, one of my kids has such a good idea. I'm like, oh, well, okay, let's just do that instead. So you go in with these scripts, Travis. And have you ever had a moment where you say they embody their characters? Have you ever had a moment where you're actually shooting an episode, you're voicing it, and you go, you know what, they're bringing this energy. Maybe we should try it this way as well and see if that works out.
Absolutely. With Roxy, Scarlett was a big part of sort of figuring that character out. And, one of the things we love about Roxy is that she is a demolition dog. She loves her wrecking ball. She loves her jackhammer, but she also loves pink, and she loves tutus, and she's this duality of kind of these things that don't really go together. And we love that about her, that it's this comedic thing where she loves to dance, but she'll dance with a sledgehammer and break whatever she can as she's dancing. And so, yeah, she was a big part in helping us craft that character, and as all of them were. I mean, once you start to hear some of the voices in those first couple episodes, I took a lot of that back to the writer's room and went, okay, here's, Bobby Moynihan is so great at this. Let's make sure and write to that. And you hear some lines that just crack everybody up, and you go, okay, you follow that guiding light.
Talking to Travis Braun about Pupstruction, which you'll be able to see on Disney Junior and Disney Plus. Well, eventually on Disney Plus, but on Disney Junior on June the 14th. Travis, this is hard because they're all your babies. I get that. But do you have a favorite episode or a favorite couple of episodes that you're really looking forward to for fans to see without kind of spoiling anything?
Yeah, well, I will say there is in our first episode, the second part of it, Roxy is faced with her biggest challenge. She thinks she can destroy everything, but she's faced with a boulder that is indestructible. And it's so fun to watch the pups try to figure out a way to break this boulder and build this skate park. And it's a simple episode, but I really love it because it allows us to show who these characters are in the way they think and the way they interact with each other. And it's just fun and simple. And I hope kids feel the same way.
I'm sure that they will. You talked about the songs earlier, and obviously it's Disney. So music's going to be a big part of anything you do at Disney. But how do you figure out how and when to slip songs into certain episodes and certain situations? Because you don't want to do like song for the sake of song, right? So how do you decide when and where to use these songs?
That is a great point. And that is something that we've really held ourselves to with this show is you have to earn a song. You have to make sure that this moment is actually worthy of a song, because we don't put songs into spots that don't need them just to hit a quota. So there's a suit up song in every episode when we go on a mission. There's a building song. Those songs are recurring, but we have a lot of original songs, and that's just moment to moment. We just, as a writing staff, we kind of figure out, where that spot is. And some episodes, if it doesn't feel right, we don't put it in, but some episodes there's 3 songs, in an episode. And it's just really based on, does that moment actually merit our song or not? And we have an amazing songwriter, Rob Cantor, who he could write an amazing song in any moment of the show, but we don't try to kill him. We try to space that out and make sure that we're really making sure those songs do what Disney songs, Disney's been doing forever, is that music needs to be iconic. It needs to be stuff that people sing along to and want to sing to in their car. And so we really make sure those songs are important.
Travis, before I let you go, obviously we're gearing for kids 2 to 7 here. I understand that. But as a dad, I'm expecting to have to watch this show a lot over and over and over again. So as a parent, I want you to speak to parents. I want you to speak to parents for a second. Why am I going to not be driven nuts by the show and love it so much right along with my kids?
Look, we don't take ourselves too seriously. And I hope that is something that kids can appreciate, but also parents can appreciate. If you have a dog, if you have a pet in your life, you have a cat, you will hopefully recognize some of that behavior that's just so silly and so fun and is embedded in every moment of this show, where you're not just watching a construction show, you're not just watching an action show, you're watching a show where those elements are in there, but at its core, it is aware of what it is. And we just want people to come and play and have fun for 30 minutes and and laugh. And I hope we can do that for kids. And I also hope we can do that for parents. And that, like I said, the idea came from me and my family and how sort of building connected me and my family. And I hope this is a show that can connect families, that parents and kids can find something that they both like about it, and we can bring them together for 30 minutes. Then we'd be a success.
And we'll find out for ourselves on June the 14th on Disney Junior. That's when you'll first be able to see Pupstruction. You can also watch it again on Disney Plus. I'm sure you'll be watching it again and again and again. And one of the reasons is this guy right here, Travis Braun. Thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate it.
James, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate talking to you.